Yes or that?
Well, good afternoon.
Hi,
Hello there.
everybody.
Welcome to Live from Rabs, from inside Rabs Country Lanes. Joe was just telling us about a movie he was just watching.
Analyze This was on. How could you not help but laugh at that movie? That's a $1,200 Armani suit. You get one thing on that. You're going to answer to me later. Great movie. Great movie.
Hey, Joe, welcome back, and thanks for joining us in the studio
Happy
today.
to be here. Happy to be back.
Hi, Joe.
Hello. It's my weekend outing.
Happy Pro Bowler Saturday.
Happy Pro Bowler Saturday. Although my partner is MIA.
Yeah, JP is MIA, but we know he's okay. He was on the show.
Yes, he was.
Via his truck work.
He was from the tractor. He was live from the tractor doing his thing.
And from the angle, we know that he blew his nose.
Yes, he
was
did.
in good shape.
Very clean nostrils, Joe. You made your mom and dad proud with that shot. Very good.
Well, today it's not just Pro Bowler Saturday. It's Hall of Famer Saturday.
It is. Matter of fact, it is.
So we're excited. We've got two special guests joining us today, and when we're talking bowling, we get excited because there's not much bowling happening, and if you're watching bowling, it's on. You got reruns,
A lot of reruns.
you could go watch some on Bowl TV. You can watch the classics. You can go on Flow Bowling, so you can always get your bowling fix.
There was bowling on today, right before I left.
What was it?
The Cheetah
World
Championship was on last night.
Championships, maybe?
Yeah, the World Series ball.
No,
No?
it was women's. Maybe the World Championships was on.
All right.
On CBS Sports?
You know what? The TV was on. I don't even know what channel was on anymore.
But the cool thing about the partnership with CBS Sports is they rerun
it
constantly.
Yeah.
The women, college bowling, the
Yeah,
junior gold,
they
you'll
rerun it.
always find stuff.
That's right.
My nephew Thomas loves watching it.
That's good.
He does. Then I get a text message. Hey, are you in the audience for this one? Or I get a picture saying, Hey, look, Uncle Frankie, you've been spotted. He absolutely loves it.
That's great.
They were here yesterday. They bowled a little bit.
Nice.
That was yesterday, Naz?
2 days ago, I believe.
Thursday. Oh, God.
Losing track of the days. folks.
Saturday. And he told me Belmo is his favorite bowler.
Really?
Yeah.
Awesome.
He hasn't embraced it. He's as traditional as it gets.
Yes.
I don't think my brother's going to allow him to throw.
I was just going to say, Tommy's going to be thrilled.
He bowls just like his dad. He even struts back from the foul line just like his dad. He walks just like.
At the age of 6, he's got it.
Yep.
Which is cool.
Yep.
So Joe, what have you been up to the last couple of days?
Working. I got to tell you, working from home, it's different. It's busy. I'm not going to lie. There are probably some days I'm busier working from home than as if I was working in the office. But at least I don't have to get on that godforsaken express bus and commute an hour and 15 minutes each way.
Yeah.
And go into the city that is like the Twilight Zone right now, like I did for the first couple of weeks. But working from home has been nice, but very busy because in network television, all the news is about the obvious that's surrounding us, and programs are changing, and news is breaking, and special reports are happening, and because we're the operations team, we get very involved in all that stuff, and my phone has been blowing up at home, but that's why we get paid to do our job.
Naz and I are working from home.
Home away from home. Yep.
We're home every day here, live at 2:00.
Yeah. Yep.
Hey, special guest with us today, Carolyn Ballard and the one and only Del Ballard. Let's bring them in. They are coming to us live from beautiful, sunny Texas.
Not today. No, we've had a lot of rain.
How are you doing?
We're doing good. Can you hear us?
We can
We
hear
can hear
you.
you fine.
Yep.
That is good because we I don't know if you've tuned in, but on the first few days we've learned a lot. We're still figuring this out, and whether you can hear us or not, you can hear us, we can hear you. That's a good start.
Yes.
Perfect.
Whether or not you can hear me.
So how are you two holding up? You two are not. You're not used to staying still and being cooped up in your house.
Oh boy. Is this? Are you going to bleep out, or is this?
You can say whatever you
like.
want.
No, actually, it's been okay. We do travel so much, so honestly, I don't mind being home because we're getting some things done that we usually don't have the time to do because we're on the road. One of them is like our office. It's finally cleaned up and ready to be painted. So that took us a little while. So we're making the most of it. And we really, ever since we came back from spring break on March 12th, 15th, we drove back from Utah and we've been in ever since. So we went to the extreme because of Dell being a higher risk, and my mom lives with us and she's 80. So we went to the extreme as soon as we got home.
And how is Alissa holding up?
She loves not going to school.
Online learning. She just doesn't understand. She does understand, but it's one of those, well, I just want to go see my one friend. And if it's only one person and their house has been cleaned, why can't I go? And it's true. We have a group chat with all of our friends and we understand that, but we just can't take any risks. So she understands it, but it's getting kind of old for her.
I'm sure it is. It's getting old for all of us.
Yeah, it's rough on kids.
You know, it's tough, especially for the kids. They're so used to being active and being out, bowling with their friends, or just being outside.
Well, there is something strange, though, that under normal circumstances, you can't get them off their devices. Now, they don't want to go on their devices and they want to see them in person.
Yes.
Right.
So it's a little strange.
It is. I really do like, I know Alyssa's English class has them documenting, journaling each day, just a random thought. It doesn't have to be long, but just kind of thought for the day or what changed today so that years later they can go back and read what they're saying about this situation. And I think that's kind of cool because I don't think they'll appreciate it now, but I think 10 years from now, when they're kind of flipping through it going, oh my God, that's right. I forgot about that. Or you're right. Her birthday was March 19th. So we didn't have a party. We did here and we got everybody on the phone. We had 6 people or 9 people on our devices to sing happy birthday. But 10 years from now, to go back and look at her 16th birthday, I think it's going to be cool to see those pictures of, you know, who called in to wish her a happy birthday.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, happy birthday, Alissa.
Happy birthday.
16, can't go for a driver's permit, can't do anything.
Good.
Yep.
I was going to say, Del, how does that feel? You should be
Happy, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Time flies. 16.
Yeah. Wow.
Wow. I feel old.
So do we.
We're getting there.
So that journal doesn't include cursing mom and dad through all this?
I'm sure it does.
Maybe a few.
Yeah, there's probably a few things in there that she doesn't like. It's funny. You are the one that is. You're not the. She doesn't like you. I mean,
Right. It's pretty much
there's really no. I
procedure.
mean, there's no really other way to say it. I think there are times where she just flat out. I mean, she walks out of the room and I just look at Del and I go, I mean, she really just does not like me. There's no getting around that. And maybe tomorrow it'll be a different day. But I do feel what I said and what I did is for making her a better person. And it'll be a better choice later in life. So we hope. And sometimes, you know, as a parent, you just have to, I just suck up those times. And it's not nice. It's not fun. But you kind of go, okay, later in life. I'm telling you, I sound like my mother, but you know.
And a lot of times it's the mom that kind of takes the brunt of it.
Yeah.
It does. I think so.
He ends up being the good guy, and you know.
Right.
So,
That's
Definitely.
yes,
By far, it is reversal.
Yep.
It really is reversal. But, you know, I grew up, my sister and I were, I got to make sure my mother doesn't hear this. No, but we had a different relationship with my mom. We had a different relationship with my dad. And we were definitely by far daddy's little girls. So I think it goes, you know, sons maybe are a little closer to their mothers and daughters go to their fathers, but
Yeah,
I
it's
agree.
okay. It's a good mix. It's a good mix.
Dynamic. It is. Yeah.
I was gonna say, how do you think your mother felt when you and your sister were teenagers?
I think there were some good days.
Yes.
And I think there were some bad days.
And she's probably saying payback's a bitch.
Correct. Yeah.
How are you able to keep mom in the house? I know that's difficult, huh?
She is a go-getter. I mean, I definitely get my energy from her, but I have to keep reminding her, even though my mom, we've been very blessed. Honestly, my mom doesn't have anything wrong with her.
Yes.
Knock on wood. But she's 80. So I have to keep reminding her that even though she feels like she can go out and go to the store her one day, we kind of got to hold back on that a little bit. So it's been a little tough because she just she's still very independent. She still drives. She doesn't have any ailments. But she's 80. So she's at high risk. So we have to keep reminding her of that. But it's a little tough. And, again, she goes outside. She walks around the cul-de-sac, gets her exercise in. Nobody else is out there. But it is tough. It's funny because this was something I think I had said to you, hey, can we bring something up? But one of the things Del and I were talking about yesterday was we received an email from our two of our benefactors from Ballard versus Big C, which is Cancer Care and North Texas Laryngectomy Society. And they're trying to stretch a 12-month budget into 18 months.
Wow.
So this virus has affected so many different avenues, not just people getting sick, but one of the things we've become very aware of is people going through treatment right now are being postponed because the funds aren't there.
And because social distancing and the whole thing.
You can't have all the patients in there at one time.
Right.
So we've been very privy to some information where it's affected so many avenues, and we could not imagine his situation that he had 10 years ago going through that now.
Right.
That it's an awful feeling.
Yeah, we're with you. I know my husband Ray's, we go to Sloan monthly, and even at this point, we're at, they're doing his visits by teleconference.
Conference, right.
Yes.
And
my next appointment's Monday by phone.
Yeah.
FaceTime.
Yeah. And, we feel bad. I mean, at his last appointment, they wouldn't let me go with him. He went up to the visit himself. And it's a scary world, but, understand they're trying to protect people who are in particularly fragile states. And,
right.
But, you're right. Your heart goes out for the people who are undergoing treatments now, or maybe have had to stop treatments because of this.
Right. And yes, and we have a couple of friends that we know are actually going through the cancer journey right now. And they've been postponed to every other day because they're trying to alternate. His head, neck, and throat doctor has scheduled his nurses. They're alternating days just so they don't get burned out because they aren't taking any days off, and he's still performing surgery. So one of the things we've done is this Tuesday we've planned to have lunch delivered to them just so they know we appreciate them because they have been, we've forged a very good friendship with them through Ballard versus the Big C and helping their organization. But we just want them to know that they're appreciated.
Yes.
And they've helped numerous people that we know that we've sent to them. So it's fantastic. And also it reminds them, and it brings people into bowling. They all showed up to our event. They bowled. They had a great time. They weren't bowlers before. They've held their office parties now at the local bowling center. So it really has grown into a great relationship both ways. And it's really helped the community in that we've been able to get people in to see a doctor that may have had to wait a little bit longer. So it's a great thing.
So talk a little bit about the fundraising. So the event that you guys run has been an annual event. You guys raise a lot of money. How much money have you raised since you've started?
Oh dear, we're well over that. We're over about 500,000 now, easily.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean last year was our highest year. I think we were over 100,000. But we have again forged some great partnerships. Storm by far with the SYC, the youth events, logo infusion gives a percentage of every jersey that is purchased for an SYC event. To Ballard versus the Big C, Dexter, Turbo, Rotogrip, you name it. Storm again, just in general, all have jumped on board with providing funds to help everybody. And it goes without asking. Like we, in the beginning, we're like, yep, we want to jump on board. We're going to be a part of it anyway. And they turned around and said, okay, hey, this is what we're going to do. We're going to give a percentage of each entry. We're going to give a percentage of each jersey that's purchased. We didn't ask for that. That came just out of, hey, this is what we're going to do for you. And that is just another way of showing how overwhelming the bowling community is in just giving back to people who you may never meet. You may never meet these people, but we can guarantee that we're touching lives. I got one of the greatest emails from Katrina from the North Texas Laryngectomy Society a couple of days ago. And I said, hey, congratulations. It was one of the biggest donations we've given to you. And it was such a thankful, just caring. You have no idea how you're impacting lives. And I get chills when I think about that because there are things you learn every year going through this and fundraising. It's something different. Again, I never knew that someone with a voice box had to have a new one. I originally thought when you have a voice box, you're done. You know, you got one. They have to be changed. They have to be. There's a new one. It just depends on how bad your situation was. So there you go. I learned something, and we may not meet these people, but we're allowing them to have a voice, and that's what it's all about. And the bowling community is unbelievable when it comes to giving back.
Yeah, great. Bowling community does so
We're
much good.
we're really lucky. We say that all the time.
Mhm.
It's the community. People outside of the bowling community don't always understand it.
Yeah.
We try to clarify. We talk about it all the time, and we say, "Listen, we've got a great community around us, and we do. We're really lucky." And you've been here, and you've seen and been a part of that. But then the bowling community within, we're together on a weekly basis for months at a time.
Sometimes multiple times during the week.
And we forge relationships with people, and and so it just makes sense.
Yeah.
Just the average person that's not within that community doesn't usually see it. So
That's right.
and then when they do, they go, "Wow, how do you do that?"
Yeah.
So awesome. That's great stuff, and it shows to what you guys do, the commitment that you've made, and the relationships that you forged. That people want to support that, and we've been proud to do that, and I know many others have. So
Definitely.
awesome.
We have a great team. We have Vicky Smith, Tina Taylor, our core group. It's unbelievable how selfless they give of their time. Our North Central Texas USBC hopped right on board to help us with anything we wanted to do. I mean, it truly is amazing to watch anything in bowling go from the ground up.
Right.
And it really does start at the ground. I mean, it's people making phone calls, showing up for a meeting, passing out a business card. And honestly, and I'm not shy at all about asking for money. Which is why that's my main job. I'm not supposed to do anything else except ask for money. So, but if you did not have a team behind you like we have, there's no way it could get done.
Right.
And allowing our partners, allowing us to use their platform, there's no way we could reach as many people as we do. So again, it like you said, it goes out to the everyday person you know. It's your friend, it's your husband, it's your teammate on Thursday night that knows somebody,
Right.
or some. It goes on and on. It really does.
You it's amazing. You also don't know who knows who and who
Right.
knows what.
Right.
And then when somebody tells you, in some cases, somebody says something, you go, are we even allowed to know that?
Right,
And,
Right.
and then on league night, it gets from Wayne 48 to 25. And
Yeah.
you go, okay, well,
Right, yes, we
now.
know.
The league knows now. Yeah, the whole league knows. Yeah. It's true. Yep. Well, I think I'm going to kick off the bowling portion with the questions, the bowling questions,
Yeah,
right?
have at it.
For our pro bowling couple. And before we start the bowling questions, let me just say I admire that map you have behind you. The globe, that is a great map. That's a
It's our
great.
big map.
Yep. My dad was a World War II vet, and he always used to show me places where he went.
Mhm.
You know, when he was over there, and I always have a place in my home for a globe or a map like that.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah, we have a
Well,
globe downstairs.
And we have a globe downstairs.
Nice.
Dell's father was in World War II.
okay, so we're
My father was in World War II, and my father was a prisoner of war.
oh wow.
Wow, that's right.
Wow.
VFW.
Yeah, that was the greatest and toughest generation of all time.
Oh yeah.
Yep. Amen. So the bowling questions, starting with the ladies first.
Oh dear.
Carolyn, what would you say? And you've had many, many wins, but what would you say was your most satisfying victory on the tour?
I'm asked that question a lot. I mean, I'm sure every pro bowler is. I always wanted to win. I just wanted to make TV. So I very rarely did I put more emphasis on one tournament over another.
Okay.
But if I'm going to say which was the most satisfying, I would think it was probably my first singles title, because that got me over the hump. You know what I mean? It was like, okay, I made a few shows, I didn't win, and then all of a sudden, boom, you win, and you beat somebody like Alissa, who, oh my God, she had ice through her veins when she had to get up. So I would say probably the first singles title, because that kind of gave you the confidence that you could do it, and showed you that working hard or you needed to work harder really proved what you were able to do, what you were able to accomplish.
That's a good answer. Del, how about you? How about you? What did you think was your most satisfying, where you said, wow, that was one I really wanted?
I would say the 1987 U.S. Open, the BPAA U.S. Open, my first title. It was a major, but I never bowled for the money, and I didn't make one tournament more important than another one.
Right.
I just hated to lose. I mean, I hate to lose at everything.
It runs deep in this household, by the way.
That's why you're professional.
So yeah, my first title, just to prove it to myself I could win.
That's great. That's great. Considering you have the 4 majors, having that first title like that's the one that's a terrific answer, both of you. Next question is, again, for Carolyn first. Not that anybody ever took a frame off or tried to say, well, I got a 60, 70 pin lead, I'm not going to keep the pedal down to the metal. But who was the one opponent that you said, this person just won't go away? They keep striking every time I strike. They throw a triple every time I triple. Who's that one person?
Oh my gosh.
Are they ever going to let up against me?
You know, I don't know if there was. I mean, everybody was just so tough. I mean, first of all, I never watched the score.
Okay. All right.
I knew where I was at.
Sure.
But I wasn't really a score watcher. I was all about, if I filled frames,
right,
I knew I was doing my job. Okay. But I would think what always sticks out to me the most is probably those 4 years where I was runner-up to Wendy McPherson for Player of the Year. I always felt that even when I bowled her in match play, it was like, oh, okay, I'm falling behind again. Right. But she was so tough because, again, another great TV bowler, another great match play bowler.
Yep.
You had to assume she was going to strike. I mean, You did.
Right.
I mean, I could go down a list of 10 of them that every time they stepped up, I could guarantee you they were going to hit the 1-3. That was like my saying. I'm going, they're going to hit the 1-3. It's whether they're going to carry or not. But I would think for the 4 years there, 5 years, it was probably Wendy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Del, how about you?
I mean, I've had a lot of great rivalries with like Pete Weber, Norm Duke. You know, he's from my area.
Sure.
But honestly, the one guy I hated to bowl against, I never did bowl him on TV, thank God. But Brian Goebel.
Wow.
Oh.
I think I was over 25 against him in match play.
Wow, Brian
I don't
Goebel.
think I ever beat him. He
Wow.
would be in last, and he would walk up and say, "Oh, Del, don't worry about this one. You've got me beat, no problem." 260.
That's always the best, too.
Oh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, don't worry about it. I haven't shot a game over 170.
Oh, yeah.
250.
Yeah.
Like, really?
He beat me like a bald-headed stepchild.
Wow. Brian Goebel from Kansas, if I'm not mistaken, right? Wasn't he from Kansas? Oh, he
Yes.
must be like a farmer. He looked like a farmer a little
Yeah.
bit. Yep. So now, when you each knew that possibly bowling was something that you can make a career out of, was there a professional bowler from back in the day who you kind of modeled your game after, or someone who you wanted to kind of be like?
You go first.
Marshall Holman by bar none.
You said it. You said it.
Del, that is a great answer. I'm going to stop you there for a second because before I said, I'm going to ask Del, after he answers, depending on who he says, I always thought that you and he had the same type of, with that little crouch, and you both kind of kept the ball low and delivered it low. And I said, you kind of reminded me of each other, not in body structure, but just, the way that you deliver the ball. That's I'm so glad you said that. Thank you.
I loved everything about his game. His intensity, his fire.
Yep.
Obviously his desire to win and hates to lose.
Yep.
And by far, he was my idol growing up.
I'm so glad you said that. Thank you, Del. You just made the rest of my weekend. Thank you. And Carolyn, how about you?
I didn't really model. I would say I modeled my game after anybody. I just felt. I watched everybody bowl. I watched Leanne and Robin and Don Adamek at the time. When I was still in college, Lisa Wagner, all of these, Anne Marie Dugan. I was fortunate enough to bowl against Anne Marie a lot while I was in college because she would come down and bowl all the scratch tournaments or the mixed doubles. So we wound up having a lot of pros actually in this area, which was phenomenal. I think it gave us a great way to kind of learn about the tour and even to make you a better bowler because when you bowled against those people, you had to be at the top of your game. But I never was one of those bowlers that tried to be something I wasn't. I knew what I could do. I knew what I couldn't do, but I worked harder at the things I wasn't very good at.
Right.
So I thought there were some limitations, but I made sure that what I did well, I did really, really well. And I do think that at the time, and I don't think that's really changed much. I do think you may have to have a few more tricks in the bag, but when you start to try to be something you're not, you tend to get away with what you're really good at.
Right.
And I think that happens to a lot of bowlers. It's funny. I think Frankie Lavoie did a great podcast or interview with Storm recently, and he spoke about how he tried to do some different things, and he found out he just wasn't bowling well. So he went back to what he was good at, made that better, and then incorporated a few minor changes, and then won the U.S. Open. So I think that's really my philosophy my entire career, was really enhance what you're good at. I was always a very good spare shooter because I didn't throw a lot of strikes.
Right.
So my spare game really is what I think kept me on those tough conditions at the U.S. Open, the Queens, the Players Championship. I was always in the hunt because I was a good spare shooter. And then when I did strike, the game was even better. And I really think I've kept that philosophy my whole career.
That is a great answer. As we like to say here, spares pay the rent, right?
Right.
So
If you ask any of our youth bowlers, they hate hearing it from me because I just beat it into their head that they strike, and then all of a sudden I say, okay, we're going to do a 5-frame game, and it's a catastrophe. It's just a catastrophe, and I know I hold nothing back. Like I look at them and go, it's a catastrophe. This isn't a minor situation. It's not good.
It's not good.
And they do, oh, I know, Miss Carolyn, I know. And I'm going, but if you know, why aren't we practicing it?
Right. Yep. Well, thank you very much. Those were terrific answers. Thank you.
No holes barred with the kids. And
No.
I'm assuming you're not coaching Alissa, right? So what's that dynamic?
It's a simple dynamic. About 4 years ago, it was about 4 years ago when she really got serious, right? Because I'm going to give my answer and then I'll let Del. I am that parent, and I'm sitting in the background. And I'm going, oh my God, she missed a tooth pin. Like, how do you miss a tooth pin?
No, that's not what she would do.
I mean, I took it down. I'd be like, oh my God.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
So I wouldn't let her sit. But I'm like, what? What's a tooth pin?
That's at 12.
So
The
anyway,
Jersey girl comes out.
I can't do this. So I would help her. And one day we were practicing, and Jill kept saying, when she really wants to get into it, she'll let us know. Kind of let it go. And I'm thinking, oh my God, how do you not want to work hard at it? Because this is two different work ethics here. Naturally talented, not naturally talented. So I was always working at it. He goes, no, let her do it. And finally, she's getting into it. She's practicing all the time. And the day I was at the bowling center, we're all bowling and I'm practicing. I said something to her about her. I'm like, hey, maybe you may want to try this. And she looked right at me, straight faced, and said, Mommy, Mr. Paul and Daddy are my coaches. You don't know that much about bowling. And I went, what? I mean, I went, what? She goes, Mommy, Daddy, world's best. You just don't know that much. I said, okay, no problem. And from then on,
Hands off.
he is the coach.
Wow.
Yeah, she is that parent that everybody talks about.
I am.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
So we have a question for Carolyn. Who do you think will be the next bowler who will dominate their PWBA?
Ooh. I have a couple answers on that one. We talk about that a lot, actually. I think obviously you see some dominance now. You know, obviously it's been Shannon O'Keefe and Liz Johnson, of course. That's an obvious one. Kelly, Danielle. I have two girls that I think I'm going to go out on a limb. This has nothing to do with anybody else because I think they're all absolutely awesome. I do think that Daria Payok throws it absolutely phenomenal.
Yes.
Yeah.
It is strict natural talent.
Yep.
I do think once she finds her own and gets a little more confident, and I don't want to use the term learns to bowl, but kind of puts all of the pieces together.
Right.
I think she will be unbeatable. I also feel Jordan Richard is by far.
She's going to be the strongest.
I mean, she will be one of the strongest bowlers for quite some time. Again, a natural talent, and she really physically does the right thing. I think when it all gets together, and what I mean by that is not that they don't have it all together. It sounds kind of of something that they're not doing. But when you become a dominant fixture, everything just clicks. Your mental game, your physical game, you're doing the right thing, you're making the right ball choices.
That's kind of what Shannon said.
And that's what Shannon is doing right now. It's what Liz Johnson and Kelly have done for so long. That's what continues longevity. But I do think those two girls right off the top of my head are the two that I see could
Most
pull out, have the most potential, and could run to the forefront. I think you have Diana.
Yep.
You're going to have Danielle.
Yep.
They are definitely by far going to
Yes.
be in that group. I just see there's something. It's kind of like for my generation when you saw Tammy Turner throw the ball.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
She was going to be phenomenal. When you
Yes.
saw Anne Marie throw the ball, she was going to be phenomenal. When you saw Leanne throw the ball, you knew she was going to be phenomenal. Yes. So that's the crew that I think there's always that one or two that may stand out because of something they currently do. It's so natural.
Right.
But I think there's the 4 and 5 just in that group that will catch up. I do. Del?
Yeah, I agree with a lot of what she said. You know, I've actually been lucky enough to work with Diana the last couple of months before all this shutdown, and I've already seen a lot of progression in her game. So I expect big things out of her. Danielle's always going to be rock solid. Always going to be rock solid. But you always look at the people who throw the ball a little differently than everybody.
Yeah.
Because those are the ones that are going to have the advantage when they have it. If everybody throws it the same kind of, now you're having to beat those people. Well, if you throw it a little differently than everybody, you may not have those people to beat sometimes. So that also sticks out.
It's also a new generation of mentality. It's funny. I listen to Del a lot when he is working with somebody like a Diana or a Daria or a Danielle. Or I listen sometimes to what he says and what they say, and I've had the privilege of being able to still bowl with some of these girls. The goal in bowling is for a right-handed bowler is to hit the 1-3, right? It's going to give you the best shot at striking, right? Left-hander, the 1-2. I hear more now how people complain more about a flat 10 or a, right? I mean, I don't know how to explain it, where the mentality is you can spare the flat 10, but you can't spare the big 4. But because people strike so much more, the focus to bring them back to tougher conditions and say, grind out, hit the 1-3. Trust me, the good pairs will be there. They don't accept it as quickly as they did in the past.
Yeah.
So it's funny to listen to that because my mentality has always been hit the 1-3, make your spares. Don't worry, good pairs are coming. Like that's all I've ever known. Now it's more of I got to wait for a good pair. I'm supposed to. Well,
it is a good pair,
right? Some pairs aren't good. 190 or 180 on a tough condition is a good game.
Absolutely. Yep.
So it's interesting to listen.
Teaching scoring pace is the hardest thing in the world.
Right. That's a good way of putting it.
Definitely.
Teaching scoring pace.
Absolutely. We see it with our kids.
yeah.
Because everybody throws a ball and gets robbed.
Yeah, of course.
Every ball, everybody gets
Yeah.
robbed.
Highway robbery for everybody. Yep. Yep.
So, Carolyn, tell us a little bit about your competition now. How often you compete now, and how you feel like you fit in.
I've been fortunate enough to know some of these girls while they were at college because I've done a lot of the collegiate shows. I commentated them. So I've had the privilege of watching them through their collegiate career. So I do know a lot of them. I have forged some friendships with some of them. They've even gone on, like a Josie Barnes, who now is even, not only is she a competitor, she's the coach for Vanderbilt. Same thing with Shannon O'Keefe. I knew her when she was first out on tour in the 90s, and now she's, one of the world's best, as well as being a collegiate coach. So I feel comfortable when I'm out there competing against them. It is a lot tougher. By far, it's much tougher because, again, I'm older. So what I can do, what I can do is quite different now than what I could do 10 years ago. I will definitely bowl the majors. I still like the Queens. I think it's the best format for anybody who truly wants to compete against the best. I think the Queens format is a good format for no matter who you are. I love the U.S. Open because it's a lot tougher. so you don't have to shoot 260 every game. Same way I feel about the Players Championship. So I will always continue to support those events. The Lucy, Bonneau, the mixed doubles, by far, I've bowled that every year since its inception, except 1 year. I was privileged to bowl with Lucy and Donna, so I feel connected to that event. And I usually bowl where I can either make pro shop calls for Turbo or visit my sister, like the Cleveland tournament. So I'd say I bowl maybe 5 or 6 events at least over the year. Yeah.
Okay. So
If we get to bowl.
If we get to bowl this year. But as long as I can keep myself competitive, I still do practice. I will say that. I'm going to tell you right now, I still am in the bowling center at least 3 times a week. I bowl league once a week. And then we are very fortunate to be in an area where our local association and our proprietors, we bowl a lot of, we have the opportunity to bowl a lot of nice events on the weekend, whether it's doubles, trios, our team events, re-entry, so you get to bowl with other partners. So we're in a very good area that allows you to stay competitive.
That's awesome.
That's great.
So I have a question from, of all people, Linda Barnes.
Don't know her.
Yeah.
Hey, it's from Linda. That's a good thing.
Better than Chris.
Well, first thing, our first comment is when CDB left the 4-5 and made it, you knew she was going to go sheet against you. Is that something that you did against her, maybe?
She's done that more than once.
Yes, we have an ongoing joke because I am the queen of making the 4-5 and the 5-7. When you leave them as much as I did over my career, you had to learn how to make them. But she is referring to, I did do that in the U.S. Open. I was in match play, and I was bowling my match. I can't remember who I was bowling against, but I did make the 4-5, and I did sheet to win that match. So I tend to make an adjustment off the 4-5.
Yeah. Well, that's a good idea.
So she's got a formula. You got a formula.
I have a formula.
She also asked, tell us like who you like to bowl against and who you like to bowl with.
Well,
You like to bowl against me.
I do like to bowl against Dell. He brings out the best in me because he makes me so angry because he talks smack. He tries to bring you down, and he winds up really. Am I allowed?
Yeah, say it.
He pisses you off.
Sure.
And not in a good way. I have to tell you, not in a good way. So there's a lot of people I like to bowl against because I think they bring out they bring out the best in you. Linda herself, tough competitor. And when I'm talking about, I was going to say, bowl with, I have had the privilege of bowling on some of the best WIBC and USBC, because we won when it was WIBC and we won when it's USBC. The team of, and I hope I don't leave anybody out. So it was Kathy, my sister, Kathy Lizzie, Tammy Turner, Linda Barnes, Andrea Fleming, and me.
That's a team.
That by far, we've won 2 team titles together. So it's pretty awesome. And we've also won numerous state titles together because I think those bowlers, besides being our friends, one of the key ingredients, we all brought out the best in each other. There wasn't one, we were all great together. So if Tammy shot 700 and Kathy shot 700, we knew that the pressure was off and I shoot 650 and Linda shoot 670, whatever. We all had years where we did that. And that's what I think is pure team chemistry right there. There's not just one star, there's 5.
Right.
And that's what it's all about. You bring out the best in each other.
Yeah. Feed off each other. Yep.
Just because Linda asked you didn't have to say that.
No, but it's true. We talk about that all the time. It's really funny. A lot of times when Linda and I get together, we text a lot too now, especially in this time frame. We haven't been able to meet up for our usual lunch. That's a whole other story. But it really is true. When you're picking a team, Del and I just talked about this the other day. You know, you see all these things going around on Facebook about name your 5 greatest players or who do you want to bowl team event. If you look at the teams people pick, it's not 5 pro bowlers.
Yeah.
Right.
Because I would take those 5 women against 5 pro bowlers and not think twice about it. And that has no dig against the pro bowlers, but I've bowled on both teams. One thing a lot of people have to remember, and I think Del should talk about this, especially with the men. Pro bowlers are used to bowling for themselves.
Yes.
Yeah.
Individual.
It's an individual sport.
Right.
It's only been in the last, I believe, 10 years or so that pro bowlers have been allowed to bowl on Team USA.
Right.
It's a different chemistry and it's a different mental outlook than when you have 5 people who bowl strictly based on team performance. It really is different. And again, I'm not saying that one team is better than the other. I think the team chemistry and the mental outlook of it is different. It really is.
Right.
Because you've seen it too with men.
I'm going to give you a prime example. The first year Walter Ray was on Team USA, the greatest bowler at the time, and by far the best. He won the singles event, and won gold in singles, and he won the Masters for Team USA. Didn't win doubles, didn't win trios, and I don't know if they won team. But that's my point, because in my opinion, he might have been able, I think he probably struggled a little more
Right.
in a team environment
Right.
where he had partners.
Individual.
Yes.
Because he's not exposed to that environment very much.
Yeah, it's different.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is very different.
Even when he's pitching horseshoes, he's pitching himself.
And I agree. But
I think everybody's like that though. I mean,
Yeah.
it's, even though I had been on successful teams, I bowled in college, I had these great, women's championship teams. Team USA is different, and it is your thought process is a little different because don't forget, a lot of the pros and names are not important. Didn't want to share their secrets with everybody else. Well,
Right.
what happens when we get back to tour? They're going to know what I'm doing. Well,
Yeah.
yeah, they are. I mean, come on. If you're doing your job, you shouldn't have to worry about that.
Right.
That's the way I always looked at it.
Right.
So I was always chirping and sharing information because when it comes to putting your shoes on and stepping on the approach, it's only you that matters anyway for singles event.
Right.
Your secrets aren't going to help someone else. I mean, they're really not.
No, I think it's more. It actually is more intimidating when you share.
Yeah.
And nobody
Right.
can duplicate what you,
Sure.
to your point, nobody can duplicate what you do. So that, listen, and a good player is going to watch you and learn for themselves
That's
and
right.
learn what you're doing
they're supposed to know.
to their
Right.
own.
Yep.
Yeah. Hey, look where she's throwing the ball. Yeah, I can't do that. Oh, but
Right,
there's something
Right.
here that hey, I could pick up from. I love when people say, "Oh, I'm throwing the same line you are tonight." I'm like, "Yeah, okay."
Yeah.
I can't hook the lane. You
Right.
can.
So half the league.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only time that's true is when the hot ball comes out and
Yes.
everybody's throwing the same ball.
Right.
Oh, I have to have that ball.
Like the phase 3. Everyone
Because
has
that ball is going to make you a hook player.
Yeah.
And yes.
Yep.
For a
Magic
month.
Right. Until something else comes out.
Right.
Yeah.
For a month. Well, it works. Hey, we got a question from our friend Phil. To the both of you. You guys have both been on different staffs over the years and used different equipment. And of course, if you go back, it's much different than it is today. Your favorite, whether it doesn't matter what time period, your favorite go-to ball that you always took out of your arsenal to bowl with, and either won with it or not.
Ooh, I have 2.
I didn't really have a go-to ball. But I grew up in a little different era where you took one ball and tried to make it do something else.
Right.
So I don't know, that's a hard one for me. Go ahead.
Well, in the time frame when I was on the first tour, I would say, I'm not going to get in trouble for this, am I?
It's old news now.
No, I would say my Vortex 2. was the go-to ball. It was the hottest ball. It was one of the best balls Ebonite at the time made during the 90s. And my go-to ball now is by far my Phase 2.
That's Phase 2. Everybody.
Phase 2.
Yep.
Phase 2 or a Halo.
Yeah.
Both give me a little bit of a different read.
Yeah.
But they both have the potential to be 1 and 2 out of the bag, and then make the decision from there whether I need to go up or down.
If I was to say bowling now, because I haven't really bowled competitively in many years, but I would have to say a high road. Something gets down because I really don't have the ball speed I used to have, so something a little higher RG, something gets down the lane. That would probably be my middle of the road ball.
Now I want to emphasize something there where he said, I haven't bowled in years, right? So he says that. Now hold on.
Really?
Hold on.
Bowled in years.
No, hold on. So about 5 years ago, it was the one in the Ozarks. We needed a sub at the Ozarks tournament, right? Snowstorm, people couldn't get there. We're like, Dell, bring balls just in case. He did. $750. Doesn't, yeah. 2 balls, 7. Okay.
Brought 2 balls.
Last year, we're bowling the Tulsa Open. We need a sub. We need 2 subs, actually. Like, Dell, you need to bring balls. Billy Murphy, gonna sub. They're gonna bowl doubles together, right?
Oh, man.
680. No practice. Just shows up. Bowled 3 games before he got there. And I just look at him, and I walk over, and he's just, as he's coming down to my pair, and I'm going, oh, you must have bowled well. Yeah, I shot 269, and I'm going, see, him just telling me that makes me want to spit venom. I want to just spit venom at him going, and here I am just trying to throw it good. I've been bowling, my butt off, and here he just snaps off. Dude, it's so disgusting. I hate
Tell us how you really feel.
I just hate it.
And you talk about the Ozarks event, the Greater Ozark in Springfield, Missouri. I've heard lots of stories from Steve, and that is one of the largest and greatest regional events. And I hear about and I would tell any bowler to go check that out if you want to make that trip. That's usually now, right? Is it this time frame?
No, the Ozarks, the fall, isn't it? Ozarks, the fall.
Oh, yeah.
The Ozarks are, no, wait, you're right. The Ozarks, February, March-ish. Yeah.
We bowled the Greater Tulsa
Open. Yep, that's in November. Yep.
And there's a lot of those type of events, especially in the Midwest and the South, where you guys are, with the number of bowling centers and tournament operators. To your point, they've got a lot of great events, and every weekend you can. But I tell everybody, go check out Steve's event, the Greater Ozarks. That's cool stuff.
We're on.
Got a visitor.
Oh, hello. Wave.
Happy birthday!
Yeah, happy birthday.
Oh, thank you.
That's St. Joseph's Day, by the way, March 19th.
St. Joseph's Day. You are correct. I was very blessed on that one.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm a little upset. This is the first St. Joseph's Day I didn't get my pastries.
No pastries
I know.
this year.
Killing us here.
I was not. Well, I have not really walked into the bakeries. I've avoided them.
It's killing us up here. Wow.
Del, I got a question for you. And so, repping on tour is one of the greatest jobs that somebody could do, right? Because you're with all these players and you get to tell them what to do and whether they listen to you or not. What is that experience like? Because it's got to be harder, because I'm sure you want to be bowling. You want to be bowling, and it's all right. So, and I ask because I know you enjoy what you do. So, tell us about that experience for you. What is that like?
Well, all I have to do is watch Anthony Simonson, Jason Belmonte, Oscar, any of the modern guys now, any of them, EJ Tackett, any of those guys, Marshall Kent, you name them. Why would I want to bowl against that?
That's true. That's not what I meant. Bowling against it. Just physically doing it.
Yes, but I will say what I get my biggest enjoyment from is living through the players.
That's great.
I enjoy so much helping somebody and watching them enjoy success and winning. I don't care what you're at. I don't care what you do. Nothing beats winning.
That's true.
And that's why I think you see a lot of disappointed people because only one person wins.
Only one person can win. Yeah.
So, but what you're seeing out of disappointment is because that's how bad they want to win. When you see somebody get mad, it's because they know they didn't win. And that's when you see people have outbursts. And it's just that's how much desire they have to win.
And I've seen you out there, and to an extent, you're calm, cool, and collective, which is kind of surprising. I almost picture you yelling at them constantly.
No.
and then you get to
He's the voice of reason.
He is.
It's their choice to do it. It's their money. It's their decision.
Yeah.
It's not. Doesn't have anything to do with me. It's all about what they think.
Right.
And
it's funny if you listen to some of the people that he used to room with on tour back when he did tour, he helped them
Always.
and it's amazing, that he was kind of meant to ball rep because he was doing it before he even thought he was ever going to do it. So it's kind of cool to watch.
I always looked at it like if I couldn't win, I wanted my best friends to win. And if I was out of it, I would try to help them as much as I possibly could. Because if I couldn't enjoy it, I wanted them to.
Nice.
And we were the same way. We had a little group, and if I couldn't win, I wanted them to win because they had to buy dinner.
Absolutely.
And our dinners weren't cheap.
No.
Nice.
So
And I think you know why.
in a way, you were kind of training for the job you eventually had. Del?
What's that?
Yeah.
She said you were training for the job you
Oh,
eventually
well.
have.
Yeah, pretty much. But when I was, unfortunate, but at the same time, I was fortunate because when I was struggling from, say, 1994 till 1998, all I did was I sat there and studied everybody. Why they were beating me. What were they doing different than I was doing? Why? And that's all I did for 4 years. And I got to watch the greatest bowlers in the world succeed. But what that did was kind of show me why certain players were not.
Right.
So I felt like it was kind of giving me both sides of it. Oh, this guy's going to struggle because he's doing this. He needs to do this if he wants to do what this is working. And that's really kind of how it all came about.
Wow. Now, I have just an off-the-cuff question. If this was to happen, and this is totally hypothetical, Steve Cook was probably one of the biggest guys back in the day on tour, right? Big strapping guy. The ball looked like a bocce ball right? Big guy. And Jeff Lizzie, probably the most in shape, buffed guy that was on tour. If they had a street fight, who's gonna win? Steve Cook, Jeff Lizzie. I'm putting my money on the Paisan. I'm going with Jeff Lizzie.
I'm going with Lizzie also.
Unbelievable. Yeah, he's strong, by the way. He's still strong.
Oh, yeah.
I'll bet. Yeah, he was always this. I'm like, this guy's like a weightlifter, and he's on the PA tour, and the guy threw the ball so great. And Cook, when he hit those pins on television, it sounded like the building was going to fall down. When
I know.
I mean, wow, big dudes. Yep.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I had to ask that question.
You never. It's the land of the unexpected sometimes.
Yeah, we never know.
You never know. You never know.
And anybody that tunes into Joe Joe and Joe do a thing before our Scratch League every Monday night, and it's full of questions like that.
Yeah, we have all the questions like, "What's your favorite Italian ice?" You know what I mean? So, what is your favorite Italian ice? Your favorite Italian ice?
Me?
Yeah.
Are you?
I'm not really sure what Italian ice is. I'm from the South.
I probably would just go with like a strawberry. I'm
There you go.
plain on that.
There you go. Yeah, we kind of asked those off the cuff questions on our show on Monday.
Yeah.
So I kind of had to ask at least one of those types of questions, So,
What you're supposed to be asking me is, are the Mets going to win?
I just said it.
I saw it on there as soon as you tuned in. Larry, I pointed it right out, didn't I?
Yeah,
I
so,
said, look
well,
at the Mets apple sitting right there on the
It's sitting
table.
right there. And you know what? I have to say, I'm the only Yankee fan on the panel right now.
Oh, God.
I know.
Don't ask me another question.
But in spite of that, I know hopefully baseball will be here soon. What is your take on the upcoming year, and how do you think the Mets are going to do?
Oh, well, my take on the year is I hope they do play eventually, but I think we are in a reconstruction year. I'm going to make it simple. I think with the new manager and some of the younger players, I think we have the chance to actually rebuild, which is what I think the Mets should have done probably 2 or 3 years ago. I mean, I think they tried, but I think they needed to just, again, start from the bottom up.
Didn't you just go to the World Series?
Yeah, like 4 years ago. But I do like some of the changes, and I think they're going to do. I think they're going to do better than expected. I'll tell you who I really. Well, that's okay. This is a whole other story. I just think with the managerial changes, I think things are going to be much better this year.
Were you going to say who your favorite player was?
No, I was actually going to say some of my favorite managers who we don't have, but.
So who was your favorite manager? Who would you like to see?
Honestly, I like Joe Girardi.
Joe G.
I do. I hate the team, but I like Joe. I think he had a mesh of a couple different things. His demeanor itself was able to handle the on and off field situations.
Yeah.
And I think they respected that. I think there's a way to do that. I hate to say this, but before he flew off the handle, but Ozzie Guillen was one of my favorite managers.
Yeah, very passionate.
I've never been one that's always been patted on the back. So tough love to me, especially when working on my bowling game. Really, it was, you're not throwing it good. You got to practice harder. So to me, I liked his method. I just think he kind of took it over the edge, and that's kind of what caused him to have to leave. But I don't think I think you can be tough in the right way because you're a professional athlete. I don't think it's wrong to expect 100% from you, especially when you're making $10 million a year.
Yeah, right.
So I like the little bit of the tough love. But I think there's a mixture there, and Joe Girardi was one of the best. The on and off, you can be a friend, but you got to be the person in charge also, and that's a tough mixture sometimes, and only few do it. So
and in New York, with the scrutiny is incredible in New York.
Correct.
So that's another thing to take into consideration. I think he handled it pretty well too.
I think he did really well. And Del talks about it all the time because we're a big Texas Rangers fan. First of all, I loved Nolan Ryan years ago when he was a Met. But, Texas has a little bit of a different take on that. They don't do as much, in my opinion, they don't do as much tough love. But one of the things I see more is they are a unit. There's no individual here. If you ever really follow the Texas Rangers, you don't see a star.
No.
You see a team.
That's true.
And I think that's given them the success that they've had. And it's also given them the loyalty from the players. I do.
And the fans.
And the fans.
Since you brought up the Texas Rangers, how much are they rivals with the Houston Astros?
It's a big rivalry, but not as big as you would think, because we're both from Texas, and if Texas can't win, I want the Astros to win.
So it's not like the Yankee Met where if
Not at all. I don't think so.
No, it's definitely not a Mets-Yankees rivalry.
No.
It's not. Like you'll see people who are Rangers fans, I'm for the Astros. Like, I don't mind seeing them win. I will never root for the Yankees. Ever in my lifetime. I never have, and I never will. I will never root for the Giants. I'm much more, no. But here, Texas and Houston, I would root for both.
Yes.
Yep.
If you owned a bar, you might feel a little bit different, and only because when the Yankees make the playoffs, I cheer them on because it keeps people around.
I know. I know.
Secretly, in a very quiet voice, he does it.
I know.
Yeah, there's no. I'm not wearing any garb. No.
Yeah.
Hey, before we let you go, your friends Chris and Linda beat me up a little bit today, and so we have asked Chris and Linda to come and join us, and I hope they will.
Okay.
Chris has a question. I think this is for Del, but it might be for both of you. The best action match you've ever bowled in and where?
Ooh.
I bowled in several. I bowled in San Antonio. I bowled Revs in San Antonio. I bowled another guy in San Antonio. I bowled Revs at Deer Park. I bowled Viale at Deer Park.
Oh.
I bowled Bob, what's his name?
Oh, Bob. Oh my gosh. What is his name?
Bob.
Bob.
Vespi?
Bob Vespi.
No.
Bob.
Help us.
Bob Perry?
Bob Perry.
Yes.
Bob Perry.
Yes.
There you go.
I see a theme here. There's a New York theme happening here.
It
Yeah.
is a New York theme.
Yeah.
And I bowled him at his place. But really, my most memorable matches were when I first started bowling action. I bowled Norm Duke quite a bit. I bowled David Ozio. I mean, that's where we grew up bowling.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I always like going up to the island.
The
Spent a
follow
lot of late nights on the island.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure. The follow-up question, because it might have to do if you had to pick one, and for how much. Chris might be trying to get a dig in here. I'm not sure where he's going with this.
How much we bowl for?
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't anything like on the island. They do it differently than what we do here. Here, we would say we're bowling for 1,000, 2,000, bowl 2-game sets and totals. Up there, it was like dollar amounts on each side.
Yeah.
So, I think the biggest dollar amount we got to was around, I'm going to say 8,000 or 10,000
Wow.
in Long Island. A couple of different times. But at home, usually it's 1,000, 2,000, or 2 and 4.
I
My
love
biggest matches.
those.
Yeah.
I love hearing those stories. It's just my dad, my uncle grew up doing that, and then these guys today talk about it, and they're bowling for nothing.
Yeah.
And they're yelling at each other.
Your dad had well, I tell you all the time, I bowled at Rabs Lane's Lustig tournaments.
Yep.
Right?
Good. Those are the good days that I like to hear about because I know nothing about them. So
The
it's cool.
good old days. The good old
You know what was different too, even watching them do it? Nobody said no. Like, you'd say, anybody want to go bowl action? And you had 8 guys that wanted to go. Now, I'm not saying all 8 lasted the whole night,
Right.
but you would have a bunch of guys go. Some may bowl a few games or a few matches, and then they would just be betting on
Right.
the people who lasted throughout the night. But there wasn't very many that were scared to
No.
kind of step up there and put the money out, which that's a lot of money. So
I
you
will
don't
say
see that
about-
as much anymore.
I will tell you about one match. It went on for several weeks. It wasn't about the money. It was all pride. When Chad Murphy was a tour rep for Columbia.
I was gonna say Chad has the greatest action.
Whoopsie.
When he was a tour rep for Columbia, him and I, in between blocks, instead of going out and having lunch, we'd bowl against each other, heads up. Man, those were rough matches. Oh, bad.
One getting into the lane super early and one guy chucking it out to the arrows.
It was bad. That's all I'm
And
gonna
I
say.
know you guys do lunch often, and so I wonder, how do you guys still argue about those matches?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. He remembers them differently than I do.
Yeah. That's with a lot of things. That's for another day. And we love Chad, and
Oh, yeah, me too.
he has some good stories too. Hey, you guys have been awesome.
Yes.
We really appreciate you taking the time spending with us today.
Thank you.
You guys keep on keeping on. Before we know it, we're going to get out of this.
Yes.
and we're going to do it together. But we really appreciate you stopping in
Thank
and
you.
saying
Thank
hello
you so
and
much.
chatting with us today.
Thank you for having us.
Sounds
It's
great.
nice
Thanks,
to
Frank.
see everybody. Tell Ray I said hello, please. Nazareth.
Yes, I definitely will.
Director Ray's here.
Come in, he's right here.
Oh, all right.
I miss you.
I mean,
So we miss you too, and of course when baseball season gets in, and you decide to come home, let us know because we've got to
Yeah.
get to a game.
Yeah.
okay, so 2 things. I want Mets tickets,
Yeah.
and we need to come up to Rab's Lanes and have a Ballard versus the Big C.
We're in.
Oh, there you
Oh,
go.
okay.
There you go.
Maybe we'll do a live broadcast. of
We
that.
could.
Oh, that would be awesome.
We can make that happen.
Yeah.
Okay. Take care, everyone.
You too. We'll talk to you
Thank you.
soon.
Thank you. Thank you.
They are.
They were
Awesome.
great. They were great. Yeah,
That was
they
great.
really were great.
Great guests.
Yeah.
Great.
A lot of questions,
That was
which was
Yeah.
really good.
A lot of
It was
good,
really
good questions from the bowling community too, including some PBA bowlers.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And we called Chris and Linda out on that, and
Yeah.
Linda hasn't accepted that invitation yet. I do know if anybody tunes into Chris's Facebook page, him and Stuart Williams have a
Beef stew.
beef stew.
Beef stew.
they have a thing that I don't know if it's daily, like every couple of days. Been doing a Facebook live thing with each other, and Chris is a funny guy, and the stories that he tells are pretty great.
Nice.
So tune in, check them out on Facebook. You can see them, and hopefully you'll see them here too. Hey, it's Pro Bowler Saturday. It's Pro Bowler weekend.
Weekends.
Because tomorrow we have the one and only PWBA champion.
Stephanie Johnson is going to be joining us tomorrow. We're
Yep.
excited about that.
Good stuff.
I do want to send a shout out to our friend, avid watcher, Angelo Torado and his wife. Feel better. We know you're home cooped up, and we want you to feel better because we need to get you back in the lanes to bolt on Tommy's team and kick his ass. Even though he's been trying to help you, I know that's not working well. So you might need to get lessons elsewhere. But hey, Angelo, we're thinking about you. Stay healthy. And then the weekend's over. Music Mondays, we've penned.
Oh, Music
Music Mondays.
You saw last Monday?
I
We
did
had
see last Monday.
our good friend Billy
I've seen
Salvatore.
every show. Billy was here strumming the guitar from the Crosby, Stills, and Nash days, and Kenny was doing his thing from home. Not that he plays any instrument, but give Kenny a sake bottle. I'm sure he can make a tune come out of that.
So this Monday,
Yep.
our friend the Rosenberg family,
Oh, very nice.
they posted this great video of them singing, and they're going to come on and join us. And we also have the BPA Executive Director, Frank DeSocio, going to join in.
Nice.
Frank's going to talk about what's happening in the industry and the landscape of a bowling center. So we've got an action-packed couple of days.
Nice.
And then before you know it, Tuesday will be here, and we'll have a whole new week of
Ready to go.
guests.
Yeah.
Today was episode 15.
15.
This is we're now in April, or is this?
It's
so
April 4th.
Is it really April 4th, or is it March 33rd?
It feels like March 37th. Yeah, it does, but it's April 4th. And the heartbreak amongst all heartbreaks is, Naz, what was next weekend? The Masters.
It was the
The
Masters.
Masters
It was
weekend.
the Masters.
But we got to learn to just.
And it
This
was
is a-
lined up so perfectly.
It was Easter
was
Sunday,
lined up on
the
Easter
final.
Sunday.
Oh my God, I still can't believe it. But hopefully they show last year's Masters. But I'm getting tired of watching last year's golf. That's what I'm watching. So that's heartbreaking. But hopefully we all get past this soon.
Thanks, Joe, for the reminder
Yes.
of all the heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Is it true? I think I keep seeing WrestleMania stuff. Are they going? They're going live tonight?
I think so. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so.
No
Yeah.
audience.
I guess not.
And wrestling is one of those things where
Yeah, you're not social distancing.
Yeah, no, they're kind of sweating all over
yeah.
each other.
That's for
Yeah.
sure.
I'm sure that
Yeah.
they probably have some maybe kind of
Maybe they'll be wrapped
testing that
in,
goes on
Yeah, I
right
don't know.
before it. Maybe
it's a soap opera. So
Maybe they're in saran
it's a
wrap.
soap opera with men on a stage and
Yeah.
women,
Yeah.
but they feed off the audience. So it's
yeah, it'll
I can't-
be interesting how that.
being
Yeah.
a wrestler and not being able to feed off that
Yeah,
crazy
hitting
audience.
somebody over the head with a chair and getting no response.
Yeah.
Isn't going to seem right. I don't know.
I used to love watching wrestling as a kid. I haven't watched it of late, but
Yeah.
it was interesting because
Oh,
that's like
great.
the only sport you could watch right now.
Yeah.
Kevin is. I think it might be Kevin's correcting us. It might be tape, so it might be not
Oh,
be
it's
live.
tape. Okay.
So if it's tape and they're showing it
Yeah.
again, I didn't see any people in the audience, so I don't know what they're
Yeah,
doing. So
I don't know.
we'll have to check that out.
Yep.
Well, thanks for joining us today. We went over. We've been here for a good time today, and our guests had a lot to share, and
Yeah,
we
they were great.
appreciate
They were great.
them joining in. And if you like what you see, be sure to like and share. If you're watching on YouTube, subscribe and like.
Yep.
Thank you to Carolyn and Dell.
Thank you.
They were
That was
terrific.
great.
Co-host
Oh,
Joe.
my pleasure. You know, listen, any
You're not worthy. You're not worthy.
No, please.
And Joe, you'll be back tomorrow?
Be back to my home away from home. I'm not going to let no virus stop me. No.
Well, if anybody's noticed, we're very selective of who we allow in the building.
Yes.
Thank you.
People are outside. Earlier they were picking up pizzas. They are not allowed in the building.
Yeah, no, that's
So we're very selective, and we appreciate you. Hopefully, you are healthy as are we.
Yes, I'd like to think, I'm saying my prayers every night before bed, and hopefully we all stay healthy and away from this wretched virus that's out there right now, and hoping for the best for all our family and friends.
Wash your hands.
Wash our hands. Don't touch
touch
your
your
face. That's
Wear
right.
a scarf or anything covering your mouth.
Yes,
now.
anything. A bandana. It looks like you're gonna hold up a bank, but hey, if it works, put the bandana on. Whatever, it doesn't matter. Something.
And Naz was looking for some fabric. So if you have some fabric,
Please pass it along.
Pass it along.
Naz can use the fabric.
and Naz.
That was awesome.
It really
That
was.
was awesome.
Oh, you know what? I'm leaving.
The meme.
We didn't do the meme.
We didn't do the meme of the day.
The meme.
You know what? I gotta.
And you guys set it up so nice before too. Before
We
the
did.
show, it's heated up. Thanks.
You know what the problem is? The problem is that we're running long
Ran
today.
long,
So
yeah.
I've got this on the time. We're watching the time. So wait. So the meme of the day, Naz. Tell us the meme of the day.
Turns out my top 3 hobbies are eating at restaurants, going to non-essential businesses, and touching my face. And that's pretty much me in a nutshell.
Yeah, I think that's a lot of us, right? It's just, what are you gonna do though?
Yeah.
It's, the new normal for now.
It's crazy because you don't really think about it.
No.
You really don't
You
think
really
about it.
don't.
No.
Hey, and you know what? We've got our bowl from home. This was kind of funny. Our friend Hillary Butler shared this. Is. Well, be sure to continue to share your bowl from home videos, what you're doing to keep busy. We know you're thinking about bowling. Of course we are. We're sitting here.
Definitely.
The only voices we hear are ours, and we don't like it anymore. So keep on bowling from home and share your videos, share your photos. We want to share with everyone else.
Yep.
Until tomorrow, we'll see you then.
Peace.
Have a
Thanks for
good
joining
night.
us.
Good night.
See you tomorrow.